I would like to invite you to join us for our ICF virtual conference called The Voyage Continues, July 23 through 25 later this summer, beginning at 6 p.m. London time each day. Friday will be devoted to our commemoration of the voyage of the Mayflower 400 years ago. Saturday will be devoted to other Mayflower stories. How did Congregationalism come to the various parts of the world outside of Britain and the United States? Sunday will be devoted to COVID stories from our churches around the world and a collective worship service reaching all the way around the globe. I hope you will be able to join us. To register for this free conference, please go to www.theicf.org.
Hello, everybody. I'm Janet Wotton. I'm one of the co-chairs of the International Congregational Theological Commission. And today I'm talking to the Reverend Euodia Volanie, a minister of the United Congregational Church of Southern Africa, and an applicant for a PhD at Stellenbosch University. And you also work with mature students from disadvantaged backgrounds who are pastors at independent churches. Welcome, Euodia.
Thank you very much, Janet. It's really a pleasure for me to be here with you.
Lovely. It's good to have you. I'd like to ask you first then about your research for your PhD.
Thank you. I am a PhD candidate at Stellenbosch University in South Africa, and I am in the final stages of writing my research proposal. My research is located in the discipline of missiology, particularly the approach that interprets people's stories and their visible patterns within their communities theologically and weighing it against the standard of the kingdom of God. And one such pervasive and perpetual pattern is located in the stories of poverty, unemployment, and inequality in South Africa. And although these are historical phenomena, they still persist 27 years after democracy. And you will see these, why these are persisting if you analyze it through complex systems thinking and a mindset that views it through the lens of for the common good. Now, if you take, for instance, what the prominent contemporary historian Yuval Harari is suggesting, that the oppressor are able to maintain their positions of power because they are in control of the storyline. And this storyline consists of a careful balance between truth and fiction. Then if you endeavor to separate the truth from the fiction, it is actually the same thing that the biblical prophets have been doing. Then you are going to expose false absolutes or ultimates within the story, like promises that never materialize for the majority of participants, but benefit only a minority. Or if you scrutinize these narratives that proclaim that this is the only way, then you must view such stories with a hermeneutic of suspicion. What I have seen persisting within the literature that aims to sketch the picture of poverty is the statistics of those who are in poverty, but never of those who are wealthy. And therefore, you would be very suspicious when you see such pervasive poverty in a rich natural resource country with a well-established market economy who features in the top echelons of the developing world. And so I have looked into the spread of wealth within my study, and I have found that the 10% of wealth owners in South Africa owns approximately 90 to 95% of all wealth, and half of that is owned by only 1% of the population, while 80% of the population owns absolutely no wealth at all. And the top 10% wealth owners earn 70% of all the income that this country generates, and that is in the form of dividends, interest, and rents. And the latter consists of 40% of the total household income in South Africa. Now, if you bring that picture closer to home, then you would be interested to find that our payments on our car loans, our bonds, our retail accounts contributes to us not owning the things that we currently have, but are actually belonging to the rich, and we actually pay them interest because we are borrowing these things from them. And many of us do not see and realize that we are part of a system that is creating wealth for some, but poverty for ourselves and others. That is why my study aims to design a pedagogy that focuses on the motif of transformative discipleship, that through iterative learning practices enable the community in the context of South Africa to see that they are part of a system that is creating adverse results for the majority of people. And then secondly, to garner the life-giving patterns within the same community to enable a group of Christians to create their own unique prototype that contributes to the common good within the whole society. And for me, this alternative picture is already visible among African refugees who have fondly called South Africa home and who have been flourishing, really financially prospering here. And we have had a huge problem with this xenophobia because many poor people do not own wealth, and therefore they see these business owners as threatening their livelihoods. But if we developed our underdeveloped economic intuition, then we will see this inspiring model that would help us to rise out of poverty. And the importance here for me is that we change the lens through which we view things around us. And that is just in short what my study attempts to do.
Thank you very much. It sounds like really important and valuable and potentially transformative work. And I hope we'll be able to keep in touch with you and see how that develops as you go forward. Maybe you could tell me a little bit now about your work with the independent churches.
I've been working in Ecclesia for the past 3 years now. And Ecclesia is an ecumenically associated unit within the Faculty of Theology at Stellenbosch University. And we are providing financial and academic support to disadvantaged groups who are predominantly from the African initiated churches and who are involved in church ministry. And for many of these students, English is actually a second language. And reading and writing academic scripts in your second language is a very difficult task. But over the past few years, we have witnessed a tremendous growth because of the support that our unit is providing to these students. They are also mature working individuals, and my role is to coordinate the academic support that these students need. They are currently 25 in the program, 13 first years and 12 second years. And one of the students recently turned 16. Now, I'm also working with a program manager, Dr. Kuni Berger, who is retiring at the end of June and has been initiating and designing the support that we are providing to these students. And he is a prolific writer in practical theology and has been working with adult learning for pastors for a very long time. Now, I think for many of us, the more popular African initiated or independent churches are the Zionist and Ethiopian independent churches. But most of these pastors that we have been working with have started their own churches, either in their homes or in schools or temporary structures in their areas. And what is fascinating is that the congregational way has started out like this, congregating in open fields and under trees. But in our contemporary societies, churches that start out this way is a threat for mainline churches. But again, like our economic lens, if we change the lens through which we view these independent churches, then we will actually discover our own roots. And what I have been experiencing working with these students, although they are very religious, as most of South Africa is actually religious, they are very spiritual, and their sense of awe and wonder within their own faith traditions is so inspiring. And I believe that this model really can help us to discover our own vibrancy and energy when we view these churches not as a threat, but really as the kingdom of God unfolding in our midst.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Janet, and all the best with the conference, the upcoming conference.
And we'll see you there.
Yes, for sure.
Thank you.